Hi all, and thanks for being with me. I'm going to talk a little bit today about my favourite friend and buddy from Sky News, none other than Paul Murray. Now, Paul's got a little bit on his high horse recently because he believes that the Labor Party are not doing enough for the people that he is particularly concerned about. Now, Paul becomes very emotional in this session because clearly he believes he relates more than most people do to poor people. Now, I just want to remind the rest of you that this particular man is this particular man. So he has a lot of money. This dude, I don't know much about Paul's background, where he came from necessarily, but it is worth noting that he's made a lot of money and makes a lot of money, particularly from Sky News. But he's particularly passionate, I should say, in this segment around the fact that the Labor Party are not doing enough for the people that they're supposed to represent. And this, to some extent, I must confess I don't disagree with him because, well, I disagree with him in terms of the way he goes about it and his sort of faux empathy, but I don't disagree with him in terms that more should be done. But when I played this video back to you, I want you to think about what is he suggesting that they do? And just think about this in terms of, if you're going to criticise somebody, at least offer an alternate policy that's going to be more helpful. And then perhaps we could think about, well, what has been done at this particular point? And also, are governments responsible for everything that happens to the country? Are they responsible specifically for inflation? Perhaps are they responsible for the rising prices in the grocery store? Are they responsible for the fact that energy itself has become so expensive in this country? Are they responsible for any effort that is made to reduce the energy costs? Are they responsible for the types of jobs that you have and how you go about getting those jobs? So what is it that the government are directly responsible for and what they can do something about? And there's many things that simply they are, and whether or not they're doing enough is another issue altogether. So let's just have a look at our buddy here and what he has to say in relation to this topic.
Here, I want to show you the reporting rather, that again goes back to the heart of the issue that I find disgraceful in a country like ours. That last year, as you know, 3.7 million people weren't able to put food on the table. They ended up having to reach out to charities. But of course, before they reach out to charities, they go without. And even after they go without, they might eventually start reaching out to family. Hundreds of Australians say they skip meals and visit food banks and even dumpster dive as the cost of living crisis continues. Oh, no, but you're $14 a week. Tax cut. That's all you get. $40 million is for us.
So rather than seeking a solution to the problem, he criticises Labor for their effort, which he sees as too minuscule to do anything about it. But if the government decided to give a substantial increase, which is something I think that they should think about, to people that are unemployed, that are on lower benefits, that are the working poor, apart from tax cuts, because he disagrees with the tax cuts because they are so minuscule. Under Liberals, though, we must consider the fact that the Liberal Party wouldn't have given any tax cuts at all to those people under $50,000 a year. So, but he is critical, though, of what the Labor Party have chosen to do, which is the tax cuts, which is reducing childcare payments, which is trying to reduce the cost of energy by implementing solar and green energy in particular. So all these efforts have been made. And also, one of the things that he doesn't mention, which I think needs to be mentioned, is the fact that we now have a surplus. We're not paying millions and millions of dollars in interest rates on what we've been borrowing. So there have been some significant changes. And the housing issue is one which, of course, we all need to be mindful of, and perhaps not enough has been done in that area either. So I will acquiesce to him around that. But the reality is that he offers no solutions, zero solutions at all to any of these problems.
About how amazing it is. According to the story, a mother skips meals to make sure that her son can eat dinner. Others get through the day on little more than a coffee or a bread roll, going hungry to pay the rent, electricity bills, or buy their pets food. A few examples.
Now, it is sad that I'm sure that there are those people out there who experience this. I know from the work I've done as a social worker, I've certainly met many people who have these experiences as well. And I certainly can remember that there was a time when my wife and I had first met, and we'd both decided to go back to university, and we'd finished and we were unemployed. One of the most embarrassing moments we ever had was actually having to go to welfare to get food so that we could supply enough food, not just for ourselves, but for, at that particular time, one of our daughters. So I understand the struggles, and I can certainly relate to how that must be for lots and lots of people. But there again, this man offers no solution to these problems at all.
The fellow Australians, this government doesn't give a stuff. Most of the media doesn't either. Cost of living is just one of those things that they could use as a fulcrum to get rid of the government they didn't like, because they weren't giving them the access that they preferred. They weren't getting the exclusives. So cost of living, which was, of course, such a massive issue and still remains such a massive issue, and I, as a kid like you of suburban Australia, am absolutely compelled to talk about it and to keep talking about it, because these people need a voice. Thank you to the ABC for actually reporting on this today. Real Australian. I go without food to ensure...
I like the way, at this point, he thanks the ABC. I mean, most of the time this station takes the mickey out of the ABC.
My son has something to eat. I've also gone to a charity for the first time in my life. You have no idea how humiliating this was for me, and it almost cost my life. That's why I talk about it every night, because those are the stakes.
So, Paul, where are the solutions to this? Like, what are you offering that provides us with a different way of viewing this problem? You know, like, there are lots and lots of people who suffer as a result of a cost of living crisis. Now, I do need to mention, though, that even if our economy was buzzing along and that that people were able to pay adequately for their electricity and their food and all that sort of stuff, there will still be people out there who will be struggling for whatever reason, for reasons that have got nothing to do with the cost of living, you know, because sometimes people just manage their money poorly, or they have not enough money in the bank or not enough savings to cater for an emergency. And so suddenly they can find themselves, as we've done in the past, where our hot water system blows up and we have to spend thousands of dollars getting that repaired. You know, what do you do if you own your own home and that happens? Or if you're renting a place and the person you're renting it from takes a long time to fix that problem, or that you've got behind in your electricity bill and you can no longer pay it. I mean, there are many pressures that are placed upon people who are on low incomes, and we need to understand what they are, and we need to find ways to fix them as well. But, you know, and I've often believed that perhaps we should even implement universal basic income so that everybody has the same amount of money coming into their home. Even then, there'll be still people that couldn't manage it appropriately and who would be, for whatever reason, not able to pay their bills. But there again, as I said before, where are the solutions to any of these problems? He offers none. He's just criticising criticising the government for not taking enough action to resolve these issues. Now, I agree that the government should be doing far more. The government should be far more progressive. But I will also put this to you, that if they were more progressive in the way that I believe they should be, whether it be a universal basic income or some other form of relief, people like he would be complaining that it's too much. And that people like he used to complain about dole bludgers and that people on lower incomes get too much assistance. So whichever way it goes, you cannot win. The only thing I can say really, I guess, is that they want to use this as an opportunity to have a go at the Labor Party, and also primarily, though, to ensure that the Liberal Party propaganda is placed before the Sky News audience. And even though that Sky News audience is relatively small, I do admit that they do have an impact, and that they are relevant in terms of the fact that they have a voice and that they get their message across. Do they do? Because I look at it. So what do you think? Just let me know. Remember to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, do all that you can. But what do you think needs to be done about the cost of living? What sort of things need to be implemented in order for people to not have to go through going to places to get food because they've run out of money? What are the problems there? I'm interested in the solutions, not necessarily. I'm aware of the problems, don't have a problem with that, live with that because of the work I do for many years, but I really need to think about what is it that we need to do to solve these problems, as opposed to do what people like Paul Murray do, which is just criticise it, and who are the elite, to say the least. And they don't have to worry about these issues, and I believe it's a faux concern. They're not really that concerned. This is usually an opportunity to become part of the propaganda arm of the Liberal Party. Let me know in the section below, and please subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.